I came into Diablo 3 being incredibly Diablo 4, excuse me, being incredibly skeptical, obviously. I really hate Blizzard. But I'm not as negative about Diablo 3. I think a game doesn't need complexity to be a good game. I think a game can be fun in the most simple of ways, and I think Diablo 3 accomplishes that in like short term. At least it used to. It doesn't really do that for me anymore, but it hasn't really changed in its design. There's plenty of games that can be casual and simple and everything, and we don't really know anything about any of the endgame systems really at all. And my bar for like what I hoped the game to be was incredibly low, and I really didn't give a shit. But the positive, I guess, anything that can possibly ever exist as a system in terms of itemization is always going to be better than set items. So having no set items and having unique items already from an itemization point of view is an upgrade no matter what. Not everybody will be running around with the same gear. Even if you are using the same unique powers, the same aspects or whatever, that doesn't necessarily mean that all of your gear pieces are going to be the same and you're going to be doing the content, because the content seems to be based off of your character level, at least as of right now. So different people will have different strengths and different characters. Unfortunately, that's pretty much where the positives end. Oh, yeah, I can say one more positive thing. The game looked very bad in videos, and maybe you guys are watching this now and you're like, oh yeah, this doesn't look that great. It actually looks pretty good when you're in game. Some things are still rendering. Obviously, it's beta. Maybe it's going to be improved. Maybe it's not going to be improved. Honestly, nowadays, you really have no idea with Blizzard. It definitely looks good, and at times it feels good, but in terms of feeling, it doesn't have the Blizzard quality that I expected. Super surprising aspect, the story is really good. The presentation is very good in the story. It does a really good job at like explaining everything as you go. It's very gory, it's very Diablo. That's been really, really good in my eyes, because I wasn't expecting it. I was expecting a, you know, kind of like multiplayer-y, Lost Ark-ish, just get through the story, get to the end game, everything's just lame. You know, Diablo 3 story was terrible. No, this is pretty good, and again, it's presented in a very nice way. It's at times even beautiful, and the voice acting is really good. So it's really enjoyable. The side quests are kind of and it seems like you're gonna have to do them, because for whatever reason, again, this game kind of works like Lost Ark in the way that it does this, where at least once per account you're gonna have to do all these shitty things to have access to all the skill points and all sorts of other rewards, which, you know, is not great. But again, it's not an experience that I was expecting. That if you want to buy the game and you don't care about the endgame system, the campaign itself is very high quality. I would even say as high of a quality as any sort of single player game that you could potentially buy. This gameplay is really not what I expected. It is kind of janky. There's weird systems that prevent you from doing things. Like, again, here's an example of what's super weird about this. I can click my skill and you see the delay. If I hold down the button, this is how it works. If I click the skill move, then it's faster, but I also get to move completely for free. So it's like an animation cancel, which is weird because the game forces you to move, essentially. Weird. But then it gets weirder. If I click one ability, which is going to be my Chain Lightning, and then I want to chain it with something like Hydra, look at the Hydra highlighting. I'm clicking the ability and it's not spawning. You can see it highlight and it doesn't go off until it eventually does. But my character is moving. So I'm performing an action that allows me to move, but it doesn't allow me to cast my skill. I'm done with the animation. My character is moving. And yet, it doesn't let me use my skill. That's weird. But it gets worse, because if I use Hydra and then Ice Blades, it's fairly quick and I can't move between it. But if I use Ice Blades and then Hydra, I can move between it, and you could see that I really slowly press the button 3 different times. Again, the game allows you movement. It ends the animation. You can click buttons, but they just don't work. At first, I thought that it was a latency issue, a beta issue, whatever issue, but I don't think it is. I think this is somehow by design, because different abilities interact with different ways. And initially I also thought like, oh, okay, skills have a backswing animation, but you're moving between them. So you're not canceling the animation. You're not enabling the animation. You don't have a backswing. The game is just like, no. When you click one skill and then you click Hydra, I mean, look, I can even look how much I click it in advance. Done. You see? Like, I can literally let go of it. Look at this delay. I can let go, lift my hand, my character runs, and then it puts down a Hydra. I would understand this if I were to click this, and then my character wouldn't be moving. But my character's moving. So is it like the animation is still going off? Because if you look at the staff, it like casts the animation and then it pulls back the staff. So maybe it just allows you to move, but you're not quite ready to cast the skill yet. The same way that you're doing here, where you can essentially move completely for free and have the exact same attack speed. Because as long as you let go of the button, I have the exact same attack speed as this, but I'm not moving. Because the animation buffers. Like, this feels bad. It is bad. And then on top of it, there's also the problem with the fact that the swings of mobs and everything were supposed to be accurate, but they're not. You get hit constantly by things that you jump away from. This dodge does not fucking work. You constantly get hit. And it could be a netcode issue. It could be lag. It could be beta servers. A million things. But I don't think so. Because if you use your teleport, that doesn't happen. So, I don't know. Like, these are fundamental problems that are going to be unaddressed. Let's be real. This will not get changed. This is something that you either accept or you don't. And it's kind of hard to accept because it feels kind of shitty. There is also the issue of the entire UI having a better functionality than Path of Exile's UI, but it's just so ugly. I mean, this font is ugly. The card overview looks very funky. Nothing really about this design has changed since the alpha we've seen from like over a year ago now. There's like keybinds underneath these bindings, these abilities here, so you can see your cooldowns, and that pushes the entire UI up. I would assume to make it easier for console, but I don't know why that's on the PC version. But at the same time, it is compact. It is very clear. So, you know, would I rather have this looking kind of not so great, or would I rather have PoE's UI where I have to go, you know, HP bar over here, mana bar over there, mini map over here. Okay, what are my map mods? All right, where's my HP? Like, I think I would rather take this, but it is ugly. Without a doubt, This is ugly. This is ugly. This is the ugliest. I don't even know about this. And I mean, I haven't seen the board, but they ugly. I mean, even this is ugly. I go over here, it's ugly. What is this? I have no idea. But yeah, that's pretty much where it ends. Like I explained previously, the combat is very Omega lol, big problem. The skills are super Omega lol. The skill twig is... I don't think complexity is necessary in a game for the game to be good. There's been plenty of games that have proven that. But mamma mia, this is bad. Like, the skills are super imbalanced. The choices are incredibly obvious. The difference between, you know, something like Chain Lightning and Frozen Orb, it's literally like 1 to 10. Where this is a 1 and this is a 10. Times 10 in terms of power. Or like Hydra and anything else. I don't know if that's the case for other classes, but there is virtually nothing in the current game that I can do at all to make it so that even though I have a weapon that's specific for Frozen Orb, I can't do anything for Frozen Orb to bring it even remotely close to the power of a Hydra or a Chain Lightning. This might be fixed. I'm kind of on copium that in the end game there's unique items. You can extract the power of those unique items, put it on rare items. The way that I've done here, you can use these special aspects that you have to generate by exploring the map and engaging in dungeons. And hopefully this isn't going to be too time consuming because you generally probably will not need that many for like a singular skill tree. But you know, there are going to be uniques. And not just aspects that you're gonna have to extract and then put on something else that's gonna be better and blah blah blah. I don't know where the system's gonna land because it's just too early and we don't know what the endgame system is and what the accessibility of this is. People are saying that there's like from previous, because people played the closed beta, there's like tiers of gearing where you essentially have to re-gear the same equipment with the same aspects and the same unique powers, but in a higher tier of difficulty. And the difficulty tier does exist in this version of the game, in the beta. There's like 2 different ones. But I think that's big copium. I don't know. In terms of design, I don't know if there's anything, any power that will be sufficient to bring up, you know, Frozen Orb mechanically to something like Chain Lightning. Is that possible? Absolutely, but you need a developer that cares and that would be willing to do that and that would put in the effort to actually improve these things. And that's already assuming that by some miracle they put in completely random numbers and like random you know, skill twig things behind it. Completely random, and then they got to endgame and they started designing the endgame, and then they were like, oh yeah, we don't have time to balance the early game, we're just gonna focus on endgame. But like, that's not, I don't know, that's not the Blizzard that I know anymore, unfortunately. So I don't think that that's actually happening. I do think that there's probably going to be very little build variety. But again, customization, build variety, do you need those things? I don't know. The endgame systems are replayable. There's some boss fighting, you know. Maybe somehow all the issues with the gameplay are netcode related and it's not just like a beta thing. We just can't know as of right now. So, in some ways, I'm positively surprised. Would I pay for this game for like a single player playthrough experience? As of right now, probably. But if you're anticipating something that's going to get you away from Path of Exile, or something that will be maybe even an improvement to Diablo 3, if that's one of your favorite games, I would just wait. Honestly, I would just wait, because I think fundamentally those systems aren't in the game that would facilitate something like that. But maybe they're going to make enough improvements so that somehow miraculously it's just going to happen, or it's just heavily tied to all of these things that we don't have access to. So the codex and the uniques, and even another system that I haven't even mentioned, the Paragon level, the Paragon board, excuse me, which is like a board where you get stats and kind of PoE notable type of things. You can look them up. There are calculators for it. I think it's this thing, if anybody's interested. These have been pretty accurate. They were released prior to the beta actually opening up, and you know, there are some things here. There's like a concept of what essentially in Path of Exile is a timeless jewel, and so you can modify things to a pretty significant degree. But yeah, is it balanced? Is it good? Is it gonna work? Is the combat system going to allow it to really shine and have, you know, a meaningful boss encounter or whatever? Yeah, I just wait and see and hope that things are gonna be okay. Yeah, I don't know. It really depends on the fucking player, you know? It just really depends. I had no expectations. All I wanted was a game at least on par with D3. And this game has provided that in a way that I wasn't anticipating, which is through the single player playthrough, which actually feels nice. So, like, am I getting my money's worth right now? I can tell you this. I felt like a whore when I bought this game. Giving money to Blizzard is probably one of the worst feelings I've had in a very long time. But in a way, genuinely, the single player playthrough has been good enough so far to redeem it. And in my eyes, if I can get 30 hours of like campaign playthrough of this quality in terms of the main story, I would feel like I got my money's worth. Is that gonna happen? Probably not. You know, it's really slowing down, I gotta say. Even within Act 1, it's kind of slowing down and the side quests are really garbage. But if there's a little bit of end game multiplayer experience sprinkled on top in the end, maybe I can somehow justify it. Just maybe. If you guys want to see more Diablo 4 content, let us know in the comments. I'm gonna have some of the highlights from the stream on the Sorceress coming up in a couple days, and there's also gonna be Rogue and the Barbarian in the end in a separate video. So make sure to check that out if you want to support the YouTube channel. See you guys soon. Bye.